Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Rue, and today we are going to be talking about self-taping for auditions. We love it. Yes, we love it. We do love it. But seriously, there are some advantages to self-taping that you might be overlooking. Today we're just going to be talking about what is self-taping, how you can use it to your benefit, how it's a little bit different, maybe even go into some of the setup and if you want to do it on your own. Cool, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Rue, and on this channel we talk about the industry. We talk about acting, we talk about auditioning, we talk about basically the ins and outs, what to do, what not to do, all that kind of good stuff. And hopefully you learn something, hopefully I learn something from you if you bless me with comments in the comments section that I can read and respond to, and we can all vibe off of each other, because that's what we do as artists, feed off of each other. And I'm going off track. I don't know, that was just weird. I've been in the industry about 7 years. I do feel like I've packed a punch in that 7 years. I've had some crazy ups and downs. Maybe one day I will share some of those with you guys. Yeah. But anyway, made some mistakes, learned some things. Honestly, I want to share that with you guys. That's why I started this channel. So let's get into it. So, self-taping. What is self-taping? Why is it used? Why is it so important? Why is it helpful? Why do some of us not like it? Why do some of us love it? What is a great startup setup for your self-tape in your own home? We're going to be going through all of that today. Hopefully you learned something. It's going to be more of a general overview. Who knows, maybe I'll do some detailed videos of each topic. If you do like that idea, let me know in the comments. Also consider liking this video, subscribing to this channel, because I love when I see people subscribe to my channel, because it makes me feel good and fuzzy and warm on the inside. And also lets YouTube know that what I'm doing is good. Please help me out. Also hit that notification bell, because that way you will get notified every time I upload something, and then you can watch it. And then we can connect again. And maybe you can learn something, and then you can comment, and then I can learn from you, and we just go back and forth, we kind of bounce ideas, right? That's how we do it. Self-taping. What is it? Pretty self-explanatory. It is you get an audition from your agent, or you go on Actors Access or Love to Act, or whatever platform you find an audition on, or one that gets sent to you, and they give you some sides, and then they tell you how to tape yourself. Those instructions may vary quite a bit, actually, from casting director to casting director. So always read the instructions. Always read them. This might be the slightest difference between this casting director and what they like to see versus this one and what they like to see. And if you don't follow the instructions, it's a pretty juvenile mistake, and they will see that as somebody who might not be as professional as what they would like. So please, 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 read the instructions, and read them every time. There's been some moments where my agent was like, hey, did you read the instructions? I'm like, I don't know, it's the same as it always is. No, it's not. I named my file the wrong thing, framed myself incorrectly, slated the wrong information or in the wrong order. Pay attention. Just major side note, just read the taping instructions, because it is more important than you think. Okay? Cool. Moving on. That's my little ranty right there. So you get your audition, and then you start preparing for it, right? And then you have two choices. You either can tape it yourself with your roommate or your wife or your husband or a friend that comes over and they read for you, which basically means that they turn the camera on and off, and they stand there with your sides, and they play whatever other character is not the one you're auditioning for. That could be a hit or a miss, and it's a conversation in and of itself. Sometimes they're an actor, which is great, and they give you a vibe to work off of, and sometimes they're just not, and you're like, please, just give me something, please. Or you can go to a taping service. Now, taping services are great because it's usually run by actors, it's usually run by people that's going to read with you in a professional way, and they're going to give you probably more than your roommate will give you, or your friend, or whoever. Whoa, that's super loud. This is a window behind me. I have this big backdrop, and I live in the city, so sometimes it's loud, super loud, and I cannot change it. When you go to a taping service, a lot of times you will have the advantage of having a fellow actor read with you, which could make your audition better. It could. I'm not saying it will, but it could. It could help. It's like that vibe that I was talking about. It's like you're vibing, I'm vibing. Yes, yes, yes. We're making magic together. And like, boom, you send off your tape. It's like crickets. Sometimes you get booked, but most of the time it's just like sending your audition off into a black hole. And best thing you can do when you hit that submit button is forget about it. Do not sit by your phone waiting for your agent to call you and be like, you booked it. You forget about that audition, you move on. Move on to the next one. So you get your sides and you start preparing for them. Now obviously you want to be off book because you don't want to stand there with your 5 lines and read them off of a piece of paper and going like this. Well, you don't spike the camera obviously, but you do like this, like right, like boom, like right off the side, you know what I mean? Because you want the casting director to see your eyes, but you don't want to be like, you see me? You see me, don't you? You don't want to do that. Don't ever spike the camera, ever, like ever, unless they literally say to camera. If the script doesn't say to camera on the script itself, don't ever look at the camera. I know it's like you're just drawn to it because you're like, ooh, it's like shiny and big and there. Don't look at the camera. Now, self-typing is great. I love self-typing for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, it allows you to do it on your own time, essentially. It allows you a little bit more time to prepare for it. You can do it at 3 in the morning if you want to, because you just didn't feel right until then. You didn't feel connected to the scene until then. That's great, because you have the freedom to do that. You also have the freedom to, this is not the second reason I love it, but it's like part of the reason why I like it, is the fact that you can type yourself over and over and over until you get that perfect take. That's it. I'm sending that. There's no way I'm not booking this. No way. Another reason why I love self-typing, there's a lot less pressure. You don't have the casting director or sometimes the producer and director in the room staring at you, and they're not always going to be super talkative. Sometimes they can be pretty intimidating. I can throw you off when you walk into that room. That's why improv is really, really important, because you have to be able to handle any situation in any given moment. If you're curious about improv, go look for the video about it, because I talk a lot about it and how it can help you in everyday life, not just an improv show where you have a troupe and you're supposed to be funny. No, improv is super important. Go check it out, wherever it. Those are the reasons why I love self-typing. It gives you some freedom with time, with how many takes you can make, and it gives you some freedom with what you feel comfortable with sending. Because a lot of times when you're in the room with a casting director, you go in, they hit record and they say go. They tape you and they go, okay, thanks. And then you leave and you're like, I know I could have done that better. You can't do it in the room with the casting director because he's ready to see the other 30 people that's sitting outside. But when you're in your own house or at a taping service, you can redo it. Now, that can get expensive when you go to taping services. The time that I decided it's time to get my own camera, my own lights, my own setup, there was a month where in our household, we spent almost $600 just in taping fees through various taping services in 1 month. I could like buy 3 sets of taping gear for $600. Point was, I spent more money in 1 month just on taping services than I would have buying my own setup. So that's what we did. My wife is an actor as well. She is great. You'll probably see her on this channel at some point. She's a trip and I love her. Yeah. Now, there are some negatives, I believe, to self-typing as well. For example, you don't train the muscle of getting it right the first time. You don't train the muscle of pressure, because all the pressure is being taken away from you. So you have to be really careful when it comes to that. That's why you always have to be in classes. You always have to keep training, because just doing auditions a couple of times a week here and there, we have all the time in the world, you have all the freedom in the world, all the editing in the world. It takes that human factor away that needs to be trained. And then when you do get that in-person audition, you show up, all of a sudden your nerves go, poof. Oh. I think I'm gonna puke. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. It's been so bad where I walked into a room and I didn't remember a single one of my lines, and I made every single mistake you can possibly make in a casting room. I think I'll make a video about that. Yes, I have to, because If anything, it'll make you feel better about any mistakes that you've ever made. Yes. Look out for it in the future. I haven't made it yet, but I will. If you like this video so far, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing to my channel. It means a lot to me. Make sure that you always keep training that muscle of pressure. This industry is filled with pressure, and you're gonna feel it. One way or another, you're gonna feel the pressure. Might as well be prepared for it. And self-taping, unfortunately, I feel, in my opinion, is taking that pressure away from us, which means less and less people know how to handle it. To me, that's like basically like the main negative, I think you could say. Why is it used? Honestly, convenience. Whenever there's a role, there's probably 300 or 400 submissions for that. The casting director picks, 30 to 50 people to see. They probably get 25 to 30 submissions out of those through various agencies. And then they pick their best ones and they send them off to the director and producer, and then somebody gets picked. That is the process. And that process, if it has to be in person, takes up a lot of time. So technology has allowed it to evolve into what we do today, which is self-taping. Does it take that personal connection away where you can walk into the room and really connect with that casting director? Yeah. And that's the other thing that I don't necessarily like about it, because I like people. I like walking into the room. I like for them to see me. When you see somebody walk into a room, it's just different from doing a slate and a full body shot and seeing them and they say, oh yeah, you're 6'4". It's like, yeah, but when you see the person walk in, I'm 6'4", so when you see them walk into the room, you get a feel for their essence and you get a feel for who they are just by the way they walk into the room, which is another tip, which will probably all be in that video. Do's and don'ts of casting directors or in-person auditions. Do's and don'ts, yes, look for it. Not right now, I haven't made it. Yes, there's a lot of pressure in in-persons, but there's a lot of benefits to it as well. So you have to find that balance. So when you do get that in-person audition, appreciate it, because it is your time to shine in person with decision makers. Go for it, ace it, I believe in you. Okay, so home setup, what is it? A camera, like the one I'm using right now. It could be your phone, preferably not, but if you do use your phone, do not do this. Do this. TVs are not built like this. TVs are built like this. Films are shot in landscape. You'll be surprised how many people still put their camera up like this when they film themselves with their phone. Most casting directors will probably not even open that file and just put it in the trash. Whatever camera you use, preferably high definition, like HD at least. Make sure you have some good sound. Don't just use the sound from the camera itself. Just have some sort of external microphone. Probably not something like this in an audition. Just have an external microphone like on top of the camera or hanging right above you out of frame so that the sound is clear. And so that you are actually louder than your reader. That is a big no-no. It's like when the reader is right by the camera and you're using the sound from the camera, and then they can't hear you, but they can hear every word booming out of your reader's mouth. That's a big pet peeve of everyone. Lighting, 3-point lighting is the best way to do it. You get a light source that's kind of lighting up the background a little bit, and then you have 2 lights off to the sides that kind of balances you out. Okay, not a lot of shadows, be able to see you, light up your eyes, connect. Backdrop, plain, not black, but like a gray or like a light blue or something like that, just plain. Don't do it in front of an art gallery, for example, where it's distracting, okay? So it's a fairly basic setup. Anybody can do it. Also a tripod to stand your stuff on. And then that's it. That's it. That's literally all you will need to have an effective home studio self-taping setup. Basically, all they want to do is they want to see you, they want to hear you, and they don't want to be distracted with other things. Just a few quick notes on the do's and don'ts. Don't spike the camera. Don't cut between scenes. Like don't mask the fact that you didn't prepare for the scene by doing like one page and then you can see the camera cuts and then you're doing the second page, and don't do that. Just prepare for the whole thing. Do it all in one take, because that's what you would be doing if you're in the room with a casting director, okay? So prepare for that, because you might get a callback and you might have to do that thing in person. You don't want to be unprepared for that. Don't look too far off. Like when you're doing an audition, for example, try to create your environment so that your eye line is always kind of just to the side of the camera, like here and like there and like here. So basically in this kind of like triangle. But don't talk to somebody like, don't do an audition like this, because they can't see your face. They want to see your face. They want to connect with you. They want to see who you are and who this character is going to be if you bring them to life. Make sure that the camera captures you. Also, don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to take a small before moment or a small after moment. Now, if your audition is for a clerk at a gas station that says, will that be all? If you send a tape in and that audition is like 3 minutes long, guess what? You filled in too many gaps. Analyze the script, know your place, know your scene, know what the character is supposed to do. A scene like that is supposed to just move the story along. Do that. That's what they want to see. Give it to them. Also, be on script. There's writers that wrote this thing and they put a lot of, that is their art form, so respect it. Yes, some directors, some writers, they're a little bit more lenient on the script itself and being word perfect. And the longer the audition is, the more you can play with it to some extent, okay? Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. You can play with it to some extent. But for the most part, be true to the words that is written on that page. They're there for a reason. As I said before, and I'm going to stress it again, read the typing instructions because they are super important. You don't want to do the entire scene and they wanted you shoulders up and you filmed it cowboy style, like from like mid-thighs up. Guess what? You're going to stand out like a sore thumb as the person that didn't read the instructions. And it's going to make them mad. We don't want to make the casting directors mad. Also, try to get it in as quick as possible. They're going to make decisions quickly. Be one of the first ones to send in your tape. Set the standard high for everybody. Anybody else that they see after you, they're like, no, I really like that first one I saw. To recap, make sure that you have good lights. Make sure they can see you. Make sure they can hear you. Make sure that there's no distractions. Make sure that you are louder than your reader. Make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that you are off book, which is the same thing. Make sure that you understand the script and understand the character and what their purpose is within the storyline. Make sure that you respect the timing of your agent. Make sure that you respect the timing of the casting director. Make sure that you read the taping instructions. Okay? Well, hey guys, thank you so much for making it all the way through. I ramble sometimes, I do apologize for that. If you liked what you see in general, like overall that you liked it, please hit that like button down here. Also, please subscribe and hit that bell icon right next to it. We all want to get better together, so better together, that is kind of cool. That's pretty cool, man. Anyway, but there's some truth to that, right? Because guess what? If you end up in a scene with somebody and they're good, it's just gonna make you better. I do have a question. What is your opinion on self-taping? Like, do you love it? Do you hate it? Talk to me. Answer the question in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Rue, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.